and so you go check it out that way. Check out the show that way if you like. What else? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is an interactive show. So, I already lost my switchboard. It's not good. This is an interactive show, so yeah, if you want to call in at any point, that number is... waiting for it to come up again. I kind of lost my switchboard here. Come on, baby, work faster. There we go. That number is 917-932-8806. 917-932-8806. If at any point you want to call in, you want to talk about masonry or Albert Pike or what have you, feel free. Yeah, and also you might want to stay tuned. Listening this week, I'm supposed to get some lady shot me a message, very intriguing message, and she said she wanted to be on the show, and she, from what she wrote to me, she seems to have a pretty interesting story about mind control and about herself being a victim of mind control. At least I think, I don't know if she was talking about herself or not, but it seemed like she had intimate knowledge of the stuff going on. And this stuff she was talking about is actually a lot more high tech than the stuff I was telling you about with, weeks prior. The stuff with Kathy O'Brien. Her stuff seemed a lot more high tech, such as the controllers actually having the ability to remote control people to a degree by different sort of implants in the brain and that kind of thing. They're able to actually sort of take over a person's, I guess, brain, or what's the word I'm looking for? Nervous system. Yeah, and sort of hijack the person's body and tell them what to do. But or they can actually hear your thoughts, according to this woman. But anyway, man, it seemed pretty interesting. So I've actually heard a little bit about this technology before, but yeah, I can't wait to get the lady on the show. She seemed pretty interesting. So, but like I say, okay, if you want to join us in the chat room too, we have 2 chat rooms actually, but the one we mostly hang out at, is called Troofer Chat, and that's TROOFER. Yes, Trite, I am live again. I am live again. Talking to Trite in the chat room. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, the chat room is Troofer Chat, TROOFER, trooferchat.chattango.com. Come on by, check us out. Yeah, a lot of cool, interesting people hang out there. I got the one that's on my Blog Talk site. But yeah, go on there, and there's a link for Troofer Chat in there. Let's see what else. Well, I guess that's it. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna get right. Okay, I got. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't know. I might have some people on later on in the show. Might not. I really have no idea. We'll see what happens. A lot of these roundtables sort of happen organically. They're just. I don't even really think about it before the show starts, and all of a sudden everybody wants to, people express an interest to come on the show, and then whenever that happens, then I start dragging people in against their will. So, yeah. So I'm trying to, yeah, I'm gonna have to queue up some different stuff for the breaks though right now, because I'm having a little bit of troubles with the audio. So, and I will go to, come on, baby. Let's go to these guys. How about, darn it, yeah, this will work. Alright. Okay, so anyway, alright, we're talking about Morals and Dogma, written by Albert Pike, the founder of the KKK. Yeah, just by reading this, you can never tell, but, well, at least not in this part of the book. There's still plenty left, but, okay. Nat and its last wheel, the Zodiac, okay. A peasant guiding Blucher by the right one of two roads, the other being impassable for artillery, enables him to reach Waterloo in time to save Wellington from a defeat that would have been a rout. Yeah, this guy brings up a lot of more classical history, I guess, his that was taught back in the 1800s. Yeah, if I had to stop to explain every one of these references, well, I'll admit too, a lot of them I don't necessarily get, but there are so many of these references to different historical events that I'm just going to forego it and leave it all up to you to do your own independent research. If you hear a name or a historical event that doesn't quite ring a bell, look it up, check it out, man. All right, I'm getting messages by weird sex bots. They want this hot college student wants me to come by and check out her pictures. So at least that's what the that's what the instant messages said. I'm sure she really is a hot college student. Okay, whatever. But anyway, to defeat that would have been a rout, and so enables the kings to imprison Napoleon on a barren rock in mid-ocean. An unfaithful smith, by the slovenly shoeing of a horse, causes his lameness, and he, stumbling, the career of his world-conquering rider ends, and the destinies of empires are changed. A generous officer permits an imprisoned monarch to end his game of chess before leading him to the block, and meanwhile the usurper dies, and the prisoner reascends the throne. An unskillful workman repairs the compass, or malice of stupidity disarranges it. The ship mistakes her course, the waves swallow a Caesar, and a new chapter is written in the history of a world. What we call accident is but the adamantine chain of indissoluble connection between all created things. The locust hatched in the Arabian sands, the small worm that destroys the cotton ball, one making famine in the Orient, the other closing the mills and starving the workmen and their children in the Occident. With riots and massacres are as much the ministers of God as the earthquake, and the fate of nations depends more on them than on the intellect of its kings and legislators. A civil war in America will end in shaking the world, and that war may be caused by the vote of some ignorant prize fighter or crazed fanatic in a city or in a Congress, or some stupid boor in an obscure country parish. The electricity of universal sympathy of action and reaction pervades everything. The planets and the motes in the sunbeam, Faust with his types, or Luther with his sermons, work to greater results than Alexander or Hannibal. A single thought sometimes suffices to overturn a dynasty. A silly song did more to unseat James II than the acquittal of bishops. Voltaire, Condorcet, and Rousseau uttered words that will ring in change and revolutions throughout all the ages. Remember that though life is short, thought and the influences of what we do or say are immortal, and that no calculus has yet pretended to ascertain the law of proportion between cause and effect. The hammer of an English blacksmith smiting down an insolent official led to a rebellion which came near being a revolution. The word well spoken, the deed fitly done, even by the feeblest or humblest, cannot help but have their effect. More or less, the effect is inevitable and eternal. The echoes of the greatest deeds may die away like the echoes of a cry among the cliffs, and what has been done to the human judgment to have been without result. The unconsidered act of the poorest of men may fire the train that leads to the subterranean mine, and an empire be rent by the explosion. The power of a free people is often at the disposal of a single and seemingly an unimportant individual. A terrible and truthful power. For such people feel with one heart, and therefore can lift up their myriad arms for a single blow. And again, there is no graduated scale for the measurement of the influences of different intellects upon the popular mind. Peter the Hermit held no office, yet what a work he wrought. From the political point of view, there is but a single principle, the sovereignty of man over himself. The sovereignty of oneself over oneself is called liberty. Where two or several of these sovereignties associate, the state begins. But in this association there is no abdication. Each sovereignty parts with a certain portion of itself to form the common right. That portion is the same for all. There is equal contribution by all to the joint sovereignty. This identity of concession, which each makes to all, is equality. The common right is nothing more or less than the protection of all, pouring its rays on each. This protection of each by all is fraternity. Liberty is the summit, equality the base. Equality is not all vegetation on a level, a society of big spears of grass and stunted oaks, a neighborhood of jealousies, emasculating each other. It is civilly all aptitudes having equal opportunity, politically all votes having equal weight, religiously all consciences having equal rights. Equality has an organ, gratuitous and obligatory instruction. We must begin with the right to the alphabet. The primary school obligatory upon all, the higher school offered to all. Such is the law. From the same school for all springs equals society. Instruction, light, all comes from light and all returns to it. We must learn the thoughts of the common people. If we would be wise and do any good work, we must look at men, not so much for what fortune has given to them with her blind old eyes, as for the gifts nature has brought in her lap, and for the use that has been made of them. We profess to be equal in a church and in the lodge. We shall be equal in the sight of God when he judges the earth. We may well sit on the pavement together here in communion and conference for the few brief moments that constitute life. A democratic government undoubtedly has its defects because it is made and administered by men and not by the wise gods. It cannot be concise and sharp like the despotic. When its ire is aroused, it develops its latent strength, and the sturdiest rebel trembles. But its habitual domestic rule is tolerant, patient, and indecisive. Men are brought together first to differ and then to agree. Affirmation, negation, discussion, solution. These are the means of attaining truth. Often the enemy will be at the gates before the battle of the disturbers is drowned in the chorus of consent. In the legislative office, deliberation will often defeat decision. Liberty can play the fool like the tyrants. Refined society requires greater minuteness of regulation, and the steps of all advancing states are more and more to be picked among the old rubbish and the new materials. The difficulty lies in discovering the right path through the chaos of confusion. The adjustment of mutual rights and wrongs is also more difficult in democracies. We do not see and estimate the relative importance of objects so easily and clearly from the level or the waving as from the elevation of a lone peak towering above the plain, for each looks through his own mist. Abject dependence on constituents also is too common. It is a miserable thing as abject dependence on a minister or the favorite of a tyrant. It is rare to find a man who can speak out the simple truth that is in him, honestly and frankly, without fear, favor, or affection, either to emperor or people. Moreover, in assemblies of men, faith in each other is almost always wanting, unless a terrible pressure of calamity or danger from without produces cohesion. Hence the constructive power of such